Hello, and welcome to this video series on Junos, the operating system from Juniper Networks, brought to you by INE. My name is Josue Vargas, and I will be your instructor throughout this course, which is called Junos, Understanding Juniper Networks Unified OS. This video series aims to assist networking engineers mainly used to Cisco environments to assimilate the operating system of a major player in the networking industry, which is Juniper Networks. And even if you're not a senior network engineer, this course is for you, as it aligns fully to the objectives of the Junos JNCIA certification, or JNO-102, which is the associate level certification from Juniper Networks. As we will learn in an upcoming video, the Juniper product family spans routing, switching, and security mainly, along with other growing technologies such as wireless. Just as with other vendors, this means there are career tracks in Juniper which relate to specific technologies and range from the specialist level to the professional and finally the expert, or JNCIA. This exciting career path starts here, with you and I diving into the details of Junos in this video course. This series is divided in 3 different parts, each of which covers a subset of the Junos JNCIA objectives. And in order to understand how the course is divided, let's navigate to http://www.juniper.net/en/training/certification/resources_JNCIA-Junos. So during this part of the series, we will cover the first 3 major topics, which start with network fundamentals, which will serve as a review on important networking foundations. Topics such as Ethernet, routing, IPv4, and IPv6 are part of this module. Then comes the Junos OS Fundamentals section. Here we get to understand the Juniper products family, the characteristics of their unified OS, and its very particular architecture, including how it handles different traffic types. Then the third and last section we will cover in this first part is the Users Interfaces section. Here we will start interacting with the 2 integrated interfaces provided in Juniper devices, which are the Juniper CLI, in which we will spend the most time, and then the JWeb, which is the graphical user interface created to administer the devices via web browser. The remainder of the topics will be covered in the next 2 parts of this course, which I hope you enjoy as well once they're available. Now, before starting with our first topic, I would like to take a moment and talk to you about resources which will be of help to better take advantage of these lessons. The first thing, of course, is the lab. Most of the time, I will be using 2 SRX 110 high memory firewalls. Although this is not a security class, these firewalls have the capability of running like plain routers and run the full Junos routing image. These are good options to begin building a Juniper lab because they're small office firewalls. And besides security and routing, they can also run several switching features. Okay. We will see an example of an offering of these devices. In this case, I will show you one in Amazon.com. It's no publicity at all. It's just to show you the range of prices. So in this case, for about $500, you can get a new SRX. But of course, you can also get it at a much cheaper rate if bought second-hand. For this course, a couple of SRXs will do when it comes to connectivity tests. But if you have other networking equipment, or even some virtualized one, you can use it as well, since we just need one piece of gear running the Junos in order to learn these topics. Now, beside the actual labs, if you're a bit obsessive like me, you would also like to have some written material for reference alongside the video training. For this purpose, Juniper.net offers a dedicated site to certification study material, which is named the Juniper Fast Track Portal. Follow the next link and feel free to take some minutes to explore the content found in this website, as it contains actual free PDF books covering the topics for this certification and for all the JNCIS level certifications offered by Juniper. You will need to create a free account in order to access these resources, which is nothing complicated, and it'll prove valuable throughout your Juniper career. Now, if you don't have access to actual SRX devices, I have some great news for you. There is a virtualized version of SRX, and it exists for VMware environments mainly. It is called the vSRX, and it runs the same features that I will be running throughout the series. This was only good news. The great news are that Juniper will allow you to download this powerful virtual device and test it for free for 60 days with full features, more than enough to get through this course. You can run vSRX on either VMware Workstation or Player or the Oracle VirtualBox. Now, there are certain considerations that you need to keep in mind while you're working with the virtual version of SRXs. Like any virtualization technology, it'll draw resources from your host computer. Okay, so you need to be ready for resource allocation. Now, vSRX needs a minimum of 2 gigabytes from your machine RAM. This is not a rigid statement. I have run it with 1 gigabyte per SRX, and it works. You might want to do your own testing. If you feel that your host computer cannot afford to allocate that much RAM, you still have some space to play with. But just to play on the safe side, I'm recommending here 2 gigabytes, okay? Now, another thing is the device will not work properly unless dual CPU is enabled. The reason for this is because dual CPU in the virtual machine will emulate the actual separation between control plane and data plane that is enforced in the Junos software architecture, okay? So you definitely need that. And as a prerequisite to be able to enable dual CPU on a level 2 hypervisor such as the Oracle VirtualBox, you will need to make sure that BT-X is enabled in your host machine's BIOS. And here I'm talking about your physical machine where you're running whichever hypervisor, VMware or VirtualBox. You need to go to the BIOS of this machine and enable hardware virtualization specifically, so that when you reboot, dual CPU can be enabled. Okay, well, I certainly hope this has been a useful introduction to the course and that it helped you get prepared and set the expectations for the modules to come. This is Josue Vargas with INE. We'll meet again in our next module.